The seal was called for by Congress on July 4th, 1776.
Oh, my goodness.
Does that sound like a familiar date?
It sounds, vaguely familiar. What was that again? No.
But that occurred, the ratification of the Declaration of Independence occurred at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And there was a motion to dismiss, but it didn't pass. They took a break, came back. First order of business, they passed a resolution calling for the seal. But they called the same three men, Franklin, Jefferson, and Adams, who had just written the Declaration, to write the seal. So there you have this expression of intent. They wanted the seal to say the same thing that the Declaration did.
So it was a visual, artistic representation of the Declaration,
of the
in a
same
sense.
principles and values, exactly. And let me tell you, Bob, what they did. They decided to do an allegory, okay? And it is an allegorical message, which is a story told with symbols. And let me describe it for you. It has a picture of Moses standing on the shore of the Red Sea, a pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud, which is representative of the covenant, which you know that, and rays of glory shining down from the pillar onto Moses, signifying the divine presence and command. Pharaoh and his army, Pharaoh with a crown on his head, a sword in his hand, in his chariot, which is kind of a throne for a commander in battle, a king, being overwhelmed by the Red Sea. And that was the first proposal for the seal. An amazing allegorical scene that is taken directly from the book of Exodus.
And so as it began to be designed, you mentioned the three gentlemen. Now, did Franklin do any of the artwork? Because he's got that talent in that area.
Oh, no, he did not.
Okay.
They hired a heraldic expert by the name of de Cimetière that did the artwork. But yes, so, and here you have, you can, it's very obvious that original scene that we just described, that's not part of the seal that we have today, right? I mean, you can look at it and you're like, well, why is that relevant? Well, it's relevant because even though the imagery changed, the message did not. The themes are consistent. And it might surprise you if you pull out your dollar bill, as you mentioned earlier, and you look over the eagle. Do you see that constellation of stars? Look around those stars. You have the cloud. It's still there. You have the rays of glory, and it actually isn't quite represented accurately on the dollar bill in a couple of different ways, but one of the ways is those rays of glory are washing over the entire scene, over the eagle, expressing God's presence over the entire device, which gives possession and ownership and approval. See, this is the kind of presence that isn't God's omnipresence. This is the kind of presence that's his intimate presence, that is only expressed when God is pleased with something. So you have very much this sense of, it's like 2 Corinthians 6:16, which says, "What harmony have the temple of God with idols, or Christ with Belial? Touch not the unclean thing, and I will be your God, and you will be my people, and I will walk with you, and I will dwell with you, and you shall be for me a treasured possession." So here you have this wonderful covenantal love of God expressed through this imagery that stems back all the way to the beginning and the three writers of the Declaration.
Amazing.